I can't bring myself to do it. I can't bring myself to put into words what it is I gotta do. Why don't you just all a favor and give up so I can shoot your bitch ass already? Sonic Month's supposed to go on forever. You're already giving up halfway through the month? Nigga, please. No, I will not give up the fight. I am fearless, and I have Sega on my side. Yeah, and I got cringe on my side, so what? Bitch ass nigga. You know, wanna know something, Onad? I don't need you. I don't need to feel you looming over me with a gun pointed at me when you're just a figment of my imagination anyway. I don't need to feel like if I don't do this or if I don't make a video every single day that it's gonna say something about me or that people are gonna be disappointed. And I'm not gonna be disappointed in myself anymore. Therefore, I banish you to the Shadow Realm. Hey yo, what the fuck is happening? Why do my bones hurt? What the fuck? Today, I'm going to talk about Sonic Adventure 2 Battle, one of my favorite games of all time. While it may not be the best game of all time, it has its flaws. I want to talk about what brings this game to the forefront of all Sonic content, with it being genuinely one of the greatest pieces of fiction ever created. Now, if you've been watching my Sonic Month content up to this point, you'll already have known some things about my introduction to the game, my introduction to the franchise. So I don't need to go at length about how I was introduced to Sonic Adventure 2. You can go check those videos out in your own time. However, I have to talk about what makes the game great in my eyes, even with the flaws that people on the internet love to point out every now and then.
The game opens up with an intro that's as iconic as it is epic. Shadow opening his eyes to the stinger, Sonic seemingly running to get a hold of him, the character splash screens showing a color to represent each, and Knuckles biting for some reason. Man's got that DMX energy. This mini medley of Live and Learn playing in the background as our two rivals, Sonic and Shadow, cross paths against the moon. And the moon will come into play later, don't you worry. This intro on its own lets you know that this experience will be one of the ages. This is Sonic Adventure 2 Battle.
With an intro that serves its purpose to not only introduce you to the characters, but also the tone and theme of the game as a whole, it perfectly sets the stage for what to expect. Before we even get into gameplay, we need to discuss this game's UI, style, and the things that it set in motion that different games would pull from going forward. Things like the menu navigation sound effects would be used in games going forward up until this day still. I kind of find it a bit tacky. I don't really like hearing sounds that I've heard in games prior, but it's kind of cool to know that this is the origin of a lot of them.
File select.
In terms of the menu and music, it starts off with the logo coming on screen, character art in the background with all these like bubble effects rising. I don't entirely understand what the idea or thought process was, if it has anything to do with the theming, but stylistically, it just works. In your options menu, you can change menu theming to revolve around a specific character that you like, while also having Easter eggs such as the President's Secretary. Just the little minor things that add to the experience overall and make it a lot more memorable. You also have extra content like a tutorial where Omo Chao can teach you the fundamentals of the game if you really need it. The vibes here are still chill. You can track your emblem results to see where you are in terms of your progress through level rankings and what have you. It also comes with a sound test where you can listen to almost any track in the game. It's also to say that the music fucking slaps, but we'll get there. We'll get there, I promise. For single player, you have 4 options for activities to choose from. 2 go hand in hand with the main story and stage select. Basically meaning you can go to whatever stage you want to play on after you've beaten it in the story mode. There's also boss battles, so you can revisit bosses from any point in the story as well, and a kart race mode. A little extra thing that isn't my favorite per se, but it's cool to have it. There was no reason for them to make this, but they did it. In terms of the core gameplay experience, you have 3 different methods of play. Speed stages that have you playing as Sonic or Shadow, treasure hunting stages that have you playing as either Rouge or Knuckles, and you have the mech stages that have you playing as Tails or Dr. Eggman. Starting with the speed stages, obviously these are the highlight of the game. This is what you come here for. You're playing as either Sonic or Shadow, and you are rolling around at the speed of sound. Levels have you going through the classic Sonic affair, loop-de-loops and things that just should not exist in the real world, which is kind of fun in this case, as a lot of the stages are based off of real-world counterparts. Like how City Escape is based off of San Francisco, Metal Harbor is quite literally supposed to be like a harbor, duh, and Radical Highway is, well, also San Francisco, based around the Golden Gate Bridge. Things like loop-de-loops and spiraling highways don't make me feel like my immersion is broken, because I'm not playing Sonic to be immersed in a groundbreaking story or anything. I'm playing it to have a fun time and just seek a good thrill. In terms of the Knuckles and Rouge stages, the treasure hunting stages, these I would argue are the lowest point for the game as a whole. It's a bit of a downgrade from Sonic Adventure's navigator system. At the bottom of your screen, you have 3 little CRT boxes that bleep when you are near the treasure that you're hunting. The problem is that in Sonic Adventure 1, you could simultaneously scan any shard that's around you. But with Sonic Adventure 2, it only notifies you if you're around one at a time. You could literally be right next to a Master Emerald shard and the navigator just won't go off. It's all dependent that you do them in order, and it's complete RNG. That is the worst part of the game by far. In stages like Mad Space, or even Pumpkin Hill to an extent, it can just be a drag in these open areas looking for a needle in a haystack. Otherwise though, I don't mind it too much. You get different abilities with each character, so as you're playing the game and as you're progressing, you'll be able to traverse the world or find new areas with these abilities. And it just makes it a lot easier and more fun to explore, which is, I think, the whole point of the treasure hunting maps. The last gameplay method is the Tails and Dr. Eggman mech stages. These ones I find are pretty fun. They're a lot slower paced than the Sonic and Shadow levels, but they do a good job of keeping your attention, lots of enemies to go and shoot at, to scan at, and it's pretty fun to get a good combo when you just hold the B button, turn your mech round and round until you have a multiplier of like up to 18 or 20 or something. All hell breaks loose. Similar to what I was talking about earlier with the kart race extra mode, for some reason there is 2 kart race stages, not from any sort of gameplay method. They kind of just pull from 2 different characters within the story mode, depending on the context. Tails has Route 101 and Rouge has Route 280. And they're fine. This ain't no Sonic and All-Stars Racing or anything. It definitely was something that somebody at Sonic Team had some time with. They could implement a kart race mode, and hey, it works. At the bare minimum, it works. It should also be said though that in every stage you can get up to 2 Chao boxes, and within them is a Chao key that brings you to the Chao World, the Chao Garden. The GOAT, the moment that y'all have been waiting for. I love this shit. While I didn't really have the time or the attention span to really focus on the Chao Garden, I could usually only focus on about 1 Chao at a time, call him like Bluey or something. I had fun with it. I have a huge respect for it because of what you're able to do. So with your Chao Garden, each of your Chaos has 5 different main stat abilities that you can level up through Chaos Drives that you collect when beating enemies in each level, which is just a nice integration between the 2. There's a Chaos Drive for each of them: swimming, flying, running, power, and stamina. You usually want to make sure you're upping that stamina, for real. But why? Why have these Chaos? What's the point? It's not like they're tagging along with you in each level or something. While that is true, there's a whole other facet of game modes that come with the Chao Garden. Chao Karate and Chao Racing. Chao Karate is a lot of just spamming the A button and seeing if your Chao can win in a dogfight. That's kind of fun. And Chao Racing is quite literally a race. But with your stamina, by pressing the A button, it gives them a bit of a boost. By pacing out their stamina, you can have a little bit more control and strategy over the results of the race. Once you've either nurtured a Chao or abused it, they will transform into either a hero Chao or a dark Chao. And once either type of Chao has been born, or I guess reincarnated as it were, you unlock the Dark Chao Garden and the Hero Chao Garden with their own theming and whatnot, and just helps with being able to manage where you have Chaos at each time. In terms of the Chaos just hanging out, doing their thing and vibing, you can get toys for them. You can also get new colored Chaos by going to the black market. This brings us to the Chao School. So at Chao Kindergarten, you have a couple of options. There is a fortune teller that will let you change the Chow's name. There is a health center. You can talk with the principal, send your Chow to class to learn a new ability or skill. And then my favorite thing is they're usually singing cute little songs in the Chao Kindergarten. And at the Chao Black Market, you can get different decorations and colored Chao eggs, as well as different seeds for new fruits to grow, while also having different fruits that specific Chao will enjoy more than others. This in turn actually gives a purpose for you to collect more rings in each stage, as you can use them within the Black Market. I think the whole Chao World experience could be its own separate game, and I think in today's day and age would probably be DLC or some stupid shit. I'm happy that it's there though, and it lives on in any re-release of Sonic Adventure 2. Its integration with your main gameplay, whether it's collecting the Chao key within stages to drop off chaos drives, or using your rings to buy more Chao eggs, or slowing down the pace to just relax and coexist with these cute little adorable chubbles. It's a damn shame that it hasn't returned in any game since. And I know I am not alone in wanting it to return. The entire experience is just an adorable breath of fresh air that you don't really see a lot in other games, especially in a game that really has it all. Different methods of play, multiplayer, that I haven't even touched on yet.
This time I won't lose.
No matter what, you'll still lose.
Basically just all the core gameplay experiences that I talked about. Race to the finish as Sonic, Shadow, Metal Sonic, or Amy. Treasure hunt races with Knuckles, Rouge, and Kohl and Chaos returning from Sonic Adventure 1. And lastly, the Tails and Eggman mech fight with two oddball choices, a neutral Chao and a dark Chao in a mech. Don't know why they're the ones in mechs, but hey, it's good to have them anyway. On top of that, in 2-player mode, you can also do Chao battles and multiplayer kart races. Honestly, I still think to this day that it's pretty impressive that there's no limitations on what your options are in multiplayer. I do wish that there was up to 4-player. 2-player seems a bit limiting, but with having all these different playstyles, the options are limitless. Now, while this soundtrack is one of my favorite in the entire franchise, I could spend an entire video at length yapping about how each song is iconic in its own right. But what I do want to touch on is how each character has a genre that is tied to each of their levels and their core theme. Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails have new reprisals of their themes from Sonic Adventure, and in some ways I prefer them over the originals. In some ways they're on equal playing field, or I do prefer the Adventure one, but they all slap for sure. Sonic is a blend of popular rock of the time, what I would define as like rock pop with something like City Escape, a heart-pumping punk sound with something like Green Forest, and what I could only describe as ska with Metal Harbor. Tails is also rock, but with some added electronic flair to more emphasize the mechanical nature of a lot of his stages, with him being in a mech. And some have more atmosphere as well. A song like Prison Lane has more industrial sounds to it, what with it being in a prison and all. And something like Mission Street is a lot more dreamy as it takes place at night and you're evading the cops as quite literally a child. Knuckles is rap. Finally, my genre. The lyrics are very corny. Hunapi's flows are very East Coast and of the time. The instrumentals are fire, ranging from jazz rap to spooky, filled to the brim with record scratches and vocal samples that just, they really fit. They fit the vibe. On the dark side of things, Shadow has more of a techno rock vibe. I can't really say if there's a subgenre that fits into, and it's not consistent with every single song, but some of them, they bang. Eggman I would describe as industrial rock. A lot of the percussion quite literally sounds like you are banging like metal bars together. It's pretty cool. They really work for the atmosphere of Eggman's stages. The Eggman stages are some of the more dark themed ones, so the Sonic palette works for it. And Rouge has a jazz influence. I wouldn't call it lounge jazz, but it's definitely a subgenre somewhere in the mix. And it's fire. I listen to those songs quite often. They are, you could almost say it's like pop jazz, I guess, but they're fire. Every single song in this soundtrack is fire. If you want me to go into detail about the entire soundtrack, leave a comment down below. But for now, those are the main themes that I had to touch base on. And that, at its core, is Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. A bunch of different gameplay modes coming together, integrating with each other to make something that is endlessly replayable, and integration between its fun little offshoots and the core experience. Endless replayability with multiplayer or replaying stages through their missions. But, of course, there's the main event that I have not gotten to yet. The story mode. The story mode persists of 2, and a third mysterious one, stories. The hero and the dark story. As the box art sort of shows, on each side you have the sides of the story. You have the hero side, persisting of Sonic, Tails, and Knuckles, and you have the dark side, persisting of Shadow, Eggman, and Rouge the Bat. Both sides of the story show different perspectives and give you different information on what is going down. So, let's get into it.
Every cutscene starts on a black screen with a typewriter sound by clicking as the text appears on screen. It already tells you that the game is going for a more serialized take on the franchise. 127, above the Capitol. A military helicopter is seen in the sky, when all of a sudden, Sonic busts out. He hops on top without somehow cutting off his head to say one of his most iconic lines of all time.
Talk about low-budget flights, no food or movies. I'm out of here. I like running better.
Taking a literal piece off of the wing of the helicopter, Sonic jumps down in radical glory. And in a few short seconds, the game has already presented you with style, new stakes, questions, and a carefree attitude to get you ready for the level ahead. Enter City Escape. After rolling around at the speed of sound, escaping military pursuit, and dodging a giant semi-truck and a ground arrow combat walker, Sonic is faced with a new foe, Shadow the Hedgehog.
It all starts with this. A jewel containing the ultimate power.
Sonic attempts to pursue the Hedgehog who got him in all this trouble in the first place when he uses a new ability, Chaos Control. And unfortunately, Sonic is captured again. This first level does such a great job of getting you engaged, teaching you how to play the game in a safe environment, leaving you with many questions as to why Sonic was captured in the first place, who's this new enemy hedgehog, and why is he so cool? Cut to Knuckles in a head-to-head match against a new opponent, Rouge the Bat. She wants the Master Emerald for some mysterious reason, when all of a sudden, Eggman appears to steal it away. As a last-ditch effort, Knuckles punches it into a million pieces, and for some reason it looks like he killed Eggman. Rouge gets pretty pissed about it and claims that all the world's jewels belong to her.
And look what you did to my emerald! All the world's gems are mine to keep.
Yeah, we'll see about that, Batgirl.
Above the seas near Alcatraz-esque prison, we find Tails, searching for the newly arrested Sonic, when all of a sudden he comes across Amy being attacked by Eggman. That man moves fast. To protect Amy, Tails goes head-to-head against Eggman, and whoops his ass.
Wow, Tails, you did it! But what are you doing here on this island?
I'm the one who should be asking that question. Don't you know it's dangerous here?
I know, but I'm here to save my hero, Sonic!
Again?
Don't leave without me! I want to help Sonic too!
Tails leads the way at Prison Lane, and Amy breaks Sonic out.
Have no fear! Amy Rose is here!
And in a flash, Sonic is off to break out and find that fake hedgehog. Sonic ends up finding him, leading to one of the best interactions in the whole franchise.
Phew. So far, so good. Hey, that's...
That blue hedgehog again, of all places.
I found you, Faker.
Faker? I think you're the fake hedgehog around here. You're comparing yourself to me? Huh? You're not even good enough to be
I'll
my
make you
fake.
eat those words.
Hurry and get back here right now before the island blows up with you on it!
Blows up?
After finding out the island's gonna blow up, with 5 minutes to spare, Sonic races back to go warn Tails and Amy and get the fuck out of there. Meanwhile, Knuckles hunts for the Master Emeralds at a spooky place called Pumpkin Hill, and a couple hours later going deeper into the mountainous region to the Aquatic Mine. At about 6 p.m., a broadcast is shown throughout the entire world, a warning from Eggman.
Citizens of Earth, lend me your ears and listen to me very carefully. My name is Dr. Eggman, the world's greatest scientist, and soon to be the world's greatest ruler. Now witness the beginning of the greatest empire of all time.
High above the Earth, a seemingly normal meteor blows in half to reveal a weapon of mass destruction. In one of Eggman's greatest schemes yet, he uses a super laser to blow the moon in half as nothing but a warning shot to prove what he can do if the Earth doesn't surrender. Sonic, Tails, and Amy watch in amazement and awe, questioning how Eggman could harness all that energy to make something like that happen, when all of a sudden, Tails pulls out an emerald.
Tails?
The Chaos Emeralds are like magnets. They have the power to attract each other. I can use that to find where Eggman is.
Put your hands up in the air and get off the ground!
I'll take care of the police while you try and find a way out of here. Find Eggman.
Got it! The three of you. That means me, too. Hey, right!
The next morning at 9:03 a.m., Tails gets a hold of Sonic, claiming that there's no sign of the Chaos Emeralds on Earth, meaning they should be in outer space. With perfect timing, Knuckles pops out of the manhole after getting lost in the mines, when all of a sudden he's interrupted. Tails has managed to discover transcripts, assuming he has a computer within his mech. He's now tasked with tracking down the president, then using the call to track down Eggman. Admittedly, it's a little out of nowhere when this happens, but still. Tails tracks down the president, and Sonic intercepts the call.
My demands are quite simple. Surrender to the Eggman Empire and make no attempts to resist. Otherwise, your country will cease to exist. You have 24 hours to give me your answer.
No way!
What the? Sonic,
Eggman Empire. Yeah, right.
What the heck's going on here?
Don't worry, Mr. President.
What did you
Everything's
do?
under control. Just leave it to us. Got it, Tails?
Tails finds the unreleased Yondu album and figures out that Eggman is transmitting from the space colony Ark. Sonic and company track down Eggman to the desert and make a plan to stop Eggman's reign of terror. Tails helps the team make their way to the pyramid. Sonic breaks in, but they're stopped when they find themselves at a locked door that needs 3 keys.
Right, Knuckles?
What? Why do I have to find the key?
We're counting on you, buddy. The world's greatest treasure hunter.
Knuckles finds the keys within the death chamber, but is stopped
there?
by a mysterious King Boom Boo.
A ghost?
Knuckles defeats it, and the team is ready to make it to the space colony Ark, when all of a sudden they're intervened by Dr. Eggman. He calls out his new servant, Gollum. And of course, Sonic whoops his ass. The team makes it to a rocket that quite literally shoots out of the Great Pyramids. Yeah, you can't really make this shit up. And the team is off to space, when unfortunately, they run into a meteorite that launches the Master Emerald shards deep into space. Knuckles goes sicko mode and causes the spaceship to crash into the
Don't
Earth.
touch that lever!
The team miraculously survive. Knuckles bails to find the final pieces of the Master Emerald, while Tails gives lore to the Space Colony Ark's origins. There's also a funny mistranslation where he calls it a Bernoulli spherical colony, when actually Bernoulli is a formula for fluid dynamics. It's a mistranslation for a Bernal sphere, a theoretical space colony that would be spherical. Funnily enough though, fluid will come into play later on in the story, but this was definitely a mistranslation rather than some Big Bang Theory-esque foreshadowing. Getting back into it though, Tails has designed a fake Chaos Emerald with the same wavelength and properties as a real one to reverse the polarity and destroy the cannon.
Isn't that a Chaos Emerald?
It looks like it, doesn't it? But in fact, it's a fake one I created after researching the real emerald. It has the same wavelength and properties, but it's less powerful than the real one. It's designed to reverse the energy field inside the Chaos Emeralds and blow up. It looks so real, even a machine can't tell the difference. I'll find the power supply and destroy it. Sonic, you find the control room, okay?
So the plan is, we'll switch the Chaos Emeralds when the machine is stopped, right?
I hate you! You guys always leave me behind and have all the fun!
Tails makes his way through the Eternal Engine, and Sonic makes his way deeper inside the space colony, when all of a sudden...
Okay, Sonic! Now put that emerald...
Tails, tell Sonic to meet you back at the research facility.
Sonic!
Now!
Amy is...
I didn't get that, Tails. What happened to Amy?
Meanwhile, Knuckles is finding his final pieces of the Master Emerald when he's intercepted by Rouge. They fight it out with a lot of huffing and puffing, and Rouge almost slips and falls into the lava when...
What in the world?
Keep your hands to yourself. Don't touch me.
Is that how you say thanks to someone who just saved your life?
Saving my life. Don't think I owe you one. You just wanted to hold my hand, didn't you? That's why you saved me. You're such a creep.
What?
Fine, then just take them. They stink like echidnas do.
Finally. I'm sorry if I hurt you.
After being left on a cliffhanger, we're back with Sonic in Crazy Gadget, having to hurry up and find Eggman, one of Sonic's harder levels before getting to the finale. Now with this next scene, I could explain what makes it so great, but to be honest, I'm gonna have to go at lengths for that one. With Eggman quite literally holding Amy at gunpoint, Sonic is given an ultimatum to give him the fake emerald.
Hand over the Chaos Emerald, slowly, and then we'll talk about your girlfriend. That is, if you really care for her.
Where he says he'll kill two birds with one stone. I always found this part interesting because I can never tell if he's saying that out loud or if he's whispering it to himself. Because then...
Put the emerald down right there and back off.
With a smug look on his face, Sonic thinks he owns this shit.
You've turned into a big-time villain, Doctor.
And walks forward to give him the emerald when he's captured.
You thought you could trick me with that fake emerald, didn't you?
So, how did you know it wasn't the real one?
Tails!
Because you just told me, Fox Boy.
If you've been on the internet for more than a second, you've probably seen discourse about this scene, and yeah, it's as good as people say it is. It's hilarious, it makes Tails look like a jackass, but it also makes Eggman seem like such a witty genius, which to an extent he is, but goddamn, he owns this scene.
Farewell, Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sonic is shot into outer space and fucking dies. With Amy left crying, Eggman is just back to business, with Tails ready to prove that he has what it takes to become the hero that Sonic would have wanted. Back outside the space colony, as Knuckles tries to find the others, he feels a strange energy. When all of a sudden, Sonic appears. He used Chaos Control with the fake emerald to get out. I guess it had enough power to do that at the very least. Sonic races through the final rush to hopefully slam dunk the final Chaos Emerald in, when, for the final time, he meets with Shadow. A hard battle is fought, but the fastest wins. In the abandoned lab with only a minute and 33 seconds to spare, Tails is standing over a defeated Eggman, when he gets a call from an old friend.
Sonic, I did it.
Awesome job, Tails.
Sonic!
Look outside.
Ooh!
The cannon is seen exploding, with one final shot of a triumphant Sonic, as cool and radical as ever. Now, in a usual game, this is where the story ends. But then we're hit with a banger teaser.
Eggman steals the research from a military base located on an island to the south. The military's top-secret weapon, Shadow, sealed in the space colony Ark, the 7 Chaos Emerald. When all of the keys have been collected, world conquest will be at hand. Sonic Adventure 2, The Dark Side Story. Long live the Eggman Empire.
The Dark Side Story starts us off with Eggman breaking into a research facility, finding his grandfather's old secret weapon. Eggman is successful and finds the secret weapon, Project Shadow. Upon releasing him, Eggman is already confusing him for the likes of Sonic. A military walker tries to intercept Shadow, and he shows the Doctor what he's capable of, also offering to grant him one wish like a genie. Before leaving, he tells Eggman that he'll be waiting for him on the space colony Ark. On this side of the campaign, we'll see this quite often, but we meet Rouge the same way we met Knuckles, with the same cutscene. Her first level has her looking for shards of the Master Emeralds in Dry Lagoon. Eggman makes his way to his hidden base deep within the pyramid, and this is where we get a new perspective on events that happen on the hero side of things. Turns out, the reason why Sonic was pursued by the police is because of the likes of Shadow, having him framed for stealing a Chaos Emerald from a bank. The next stage opens up with a classic monologue from Shadow, reminiscing on his past, what brought him here, and his purpose.
Find them before they escape!
Maria!
What?
Shadow, I beg of you, please, do
Maria!
it for me. For all the people on that planet. Sayonara, Shadow the Hedgehog.
I still remember what I promised you. For the people of this planet, I promise you revenge.
The same scene plays out with his meeting of Sonic. Meanwhile, Rouge sneaks her way into Eggman's hideout. Rouge discovers a space transporter that would take her to the space colony Ark. She gives exposition about how it was shut down 50 years ago. How she knows about all this, I'm sure we'll find out in due time. Eggman enters the abandoned Ark, looking for the central control room that Shadow told him about. Eggman makes it there and discusses with Shadow his origin and a new plan for the two of them.
Achievement of what the world's leading scientist, Professor Gerald, has created. The Ark was the first space colony created by mankind. Not many people know that the Ark contained a top-secret research facility where weapons of mass destruction were being created. This is one of them, a weapon capable of destroying an entire planet, codenamed the Eclipse Cannon.
Destroying an entire planet? Was this my grandfather's legacy?
They discuss how their new plan is to get all the Chaos Emeralds to dominate the world when Rouge interrupts. Rouge offers to make a deal. If Eggman gives her a radar to find the shards of the Master Emerald, she offers to give a hand to find the Chaos Emeralds. It's a deal. On the islands holding the military base, Eggman, Rouge, and Shadow devise a plan. Within 30 minutes, Eggman has to be the sexy distraction. Ironic, as Rouge goes in and steals the emeralds. Meanwhile, Shadow sets a time bomb to blow up the entire military island. And for the most part, they pull it off, with one small problem. Rouge is halted by military and is too late to make it out when suddenly something comes over Shadow.
Shoot, troublemaker.
With 10 minutes, Shadow races through the white jungle, when all of a sudden, he's interrupted by Sonic. The same classic scene. With just under 10 seconds to spare, Shadow saves Rouge using Chaos Control to warp them out of there. This is where we enter one of our first full flashbacks with Shadow, learning more about his backstory, about a time long before the events of this very game, a time before the events of any Sonic game for that matter, on the Ark 50 years ago.
What do you think it's like on Earth?
The professor said his life's work was dedicated to all of those who live down there. He once told that the reason for his existence was making people happy through the power of science.
Shadow.
Maria, I just don't know anything anymore. I often wonder why I was created, what my purpose is for being here. Maybe if I go down there, I will find the answers. Maybe. Maria.
Why so melancholy?
Rouge interrupts his melancholic intermission to point out how uncharacteristic it was for him to save her. He shrugs it off, claiming he only saved her for the Chaos Emerald, nothing more. With only 6 of the 7 Chaos Emeralds, they decide to use them for a test fire, a demonstration of their power and what is to come if the Earth doesn't surrender. As we know at this point, Eggman blows up half the moon, gives the citizens of Earth 24 hours for surrender, leaving the world in awe. Now, this is really cool. Unfortunately, their big threat fell upon deaf ears, and the governments of Earth aren't taken aback so easily. In order to fire the cannon in time, they're going to need the 7th Chaos Emerald. But where do they find it? Well, luckily, Rouge has an article that dates to the events of Sonic Adventure 1, when Tails had saved Station Square from the missile attack launched by Eggman. After doing this, he was awarded a Chaos Emerald, the 7th and final one that Eggman's looking for. This is where, if you haven't caught on already, we find out that Rouge is a government spy, trying to figure out if Shadow truly is the ultimate life form or not.
If Shadow is the ultimate life form or not. I will continue my research on Project Shadow and have a follow-up report very shortly.
Rouge tracks down the Tornado in the Batmobile to figure out what the gang's up to and hopefully find that last Chaos Emerald. The pursuit brings them to Skyrail, the same area near Pumpkin Hill that Knuckles was looking for the pieces of Master Emerald. They're not sure what the heroes are up to. They're ready to put a stop to it. The heroes manage to break into the hidden base, but Eggman is ready for them. Sonic takes down the Egg Golem, and of course, it turns on Eggman. But Eggman takes it down in due time. The Egg Golem delaying Eggman means that the heroes escape and make their way to the space colony Ark. Rouge tricks Dr. Eggman into giving her the password to the Ark's computer systems, and she learns something, but we don't know it yet. She sees that the heroes have made it in, and it's her time to intercept the last pieces of the Master Emerald. After playing the worst level in the entire game, we get to see the same cutscene of Rouge versus Knuckles, where she lets him get off with the last shards of the Master Emerald. Because she has a crush or some shit, I don't know. This is another moment where we get to see another side of the story that paints a better picture of events to unfold later. Eggman reads 2 energy signals from 2 separate Chaos Emeralds, so he actually goes into the later scene knowing that they had a fake emerald.
Wait, Shadow! I'm the one who should be telling them the end is near, not you! Now is the time to end this long drawn-out battle and mark myself a place in history as the ultimate genius! If something happens to me, I'm counting on you to finish the job! Hurry! The moment for attack has come! It's now or never!
Eggman makes his way up the cosmic wall to meet in one last battle with Tails to intercept the real emerald, and literally holds Amy hostage. Until Sonic arrives, of course, to which then Eggman really thinks he killed him. Even after knowing that Eggman already knew beforehand that it was a fake emerald, it just shows how cunning he is, to even have the last laugh making Tails think that he's the reason that Sonic died. True evil. Rouge is about to steal all 6 Chaos Emeralds, when Shadow pulls up on her thieving ass. They both compare their invasions of privacy. Shadow did his homework and knows that Rouge is a government spy, and Rouge knows the origins of the true Shadow the Hedgehog, or Project Shadow, that is. This is the first time in the story that somebody brings up a theory that maybe Shadow's memories aren't even real. But Shadow doesn't have time for this now. He still believes that his mission to Maria is to seek revenge and punish the people of Earth. So, he makes his way to get that Chaos Emerald to fire off the Eclipse Cannon. But of course, as we already bear witness to in the hero side story, he runs into Sonic. Eggman fits in the final Chaos Emerald. Believing he's finally done it, he's finally won, he laughs, and he laughs some more, without realizing something has gone terribly wrong.
The ultimate life form. Chaos control.
Space
Desperation.
Supersonic collision.
Tears.
Untamed power of chaos.
Professor Gerald,
The truth about 50 years ago.
Sonic Adventure 2. Last episode. Wishes are eternal.
What the? What's going on? Why doesn't the cannon fire? What's happening here? It's my grandfather, Gerald Robotnik.
And thus, the stakes are higher than they have ever been in the franchise.
What's that vibration?
Hey, wait! Someone is coming! You haven't given up yet?
Oh, it's all over for us.
What do you mean?
I just received a message from my boss. This space colony Ark is currently approaching the Earth at an incredible velocity. It probably will impact Earth.
What's that on the screen?
This is a death sentence for every human being on Earth. If my calculations are correct, the space colony Ark will impact the Earth in 27 minutes and 53 seconds. All of you will be destroyed, along with your beloved planet Earth.
I plan to give you a taste of my revenge once all the 7 Chaos Emeralds are collected. Once I initiate this program, it cannot be disabled. All of you ungrateful humans who took everything away from me will feel my loss and despair.
Is there anything else you want to say?
No.
Ready!
What's going on here? Who is that?
The dark, ominous tones of Gerald Robotnik's voice, what seemed to be a firing squad behind the camera, letting him say his last words, as threatful as they are. It's twisted. It's truly remarkable. And all is revealed when Rouge reads Gerald Robotnik's diary.
This is my grandfather's diary.
I don't quite know what happened or what went wrong. Was it a mistake to create the ultimate life form? I thought it would be something that would benefit mankind, but then the military guards landed on the colony that day. They were sent to destroy the research project that I had been working on. My colleagues at the research facility, my granddaughter, Maria, I hope you are all safe. The colony was completely shut down, probably to keep the prototype from falling into the wrong hands.
The Ark was shut down under the premise that there had been an accident. I found Maria's name among those who died when the Ark was shut down. She meant everything to me, and I couldn't bear the thought that she died because of my research. I lost everything. I had nothing more to live for. I went insane. All I could think about was to avenge her. Somehow, some way. I got scared as I no longer was able to control my thoughts. All I could think about was that I wanted it all to end. Based on my original projections, I was able to complete my project, Shadow. I designed its mind to be perfect. Pure. I will leave everything to him. If you wish, release and awaken it
If
to
you
the
wish
world.
to fill the world with destruction... Oh, so that's why you released Shadow from the base.
This scene, the explanation, the pain in Gerald's voice, the reveal of Maria's death, and everything that he lost. There is nothing in the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise's entire history, before or after this, that hits themes this dark ever. Before going into the final stage and final battle that will ensue, I have to stop and just talk about why Sonic Adventure 2 honestly might never be topped. To have a story that goes on such wacky detours with new characters that become such staples, stakes that can never be met no matter how hard writers try. It's truly incredible, and it makes me understand why they could never top it with an Adventure 3, as much as us fans like to clamor for it. And the craziest part is, we're not even finished. The group of friends and enemies alike band together to formulate a plan to stop the cannon from malfunctioning and stop the crash course towards Earth. In the final level, Cannon's core, Tails, Eggman, Rouge, Knuckles, and Sonic make their way towards the cannon's core, each helping out in relatively difficult, more puzzle-like levels. Knuckles is downright almost unbeatable if you don't have a certain requirement earlier in the game. Impressive if you do it without it, but this is usually what stopped me from completing the game as a kid. Amy, in typical fashion, is left behind. However, as I talked about in my video a couple days ago regarding Amy's character, she shows her self-worth not by high-stakes action or physical capabilities, but rather more focused towards humanity, understanding, and mercy.
I hate it when they leave me behind. I really gotta stop whining. Everyone's trying their best to help out, and so must I. Shadow, we need you. Please help us.
It's all going according to plan. There's no reason for me to help them. Besides, there's no way to save anyone.
There has to be. I know that people fight over the most trivial things. Some people may be selfish, like the professor said. But they're basically good if they try their best and never give up on their wishes. They always have a reason to be happy. That's why you should help them out. Saving them is a good thing.
While none of us are tasked with the choice of whether or not to save humanity or let it die, I think as a cynical adult, in the age where we know so much, I think it can be hard to find purpose. It can be quite easy to lose that sense of humanity nowadays. I'm not saying that this game was ahead of its time or anything, but I think the themes explored with Shadow and his misguided efforts for revenge are actually themes that can be applied to human beings. Remembering that humans are worth saving, that even with our flaws, misjudgments, the pain, our mistakes, humans are beautiful. They're lives that are worth a chance.
Shadow, I beg you, please do it for them. Give them a chance.
Shadow, I beg of you, please, do it for me. For
Maria!
the future, for all people who live on that planet, give them a chance to be happy. Let them live for their dreams. Shadow, I know you can do it. That's the reason why you were brought into this world. Sayonara, Shadow, the
That's what
Hedgehog.
I promised her, and I must keep that promise. That's what Maria wished for. I've got to go now. I have to keep my promise to Maria and you.
Through Amy's words, Shadow has an epiphany and realizes the mistakes that he's made on his time back on Earth. He realizes that it wasn't a wish for revenge, but almost the opposite. A wish for humans to have a chance to live out their dreams, for them to be happy. With his reawakening, Shadow sheds a single tear, surprising Amy. And with a little over 15 minutes to spare, Sonic and Knuckles reach the cannon's core to reverse the polarity and potentially stop the Ark's collision with Earth until they were confronted by the prototype of the ultimate life form, the Bio Lizard. Shadow drops in at the nick of time to take on the Bio Lizard. Meanwhile, Knuckles and Sonic take the Master Emerald to stop the Ark from collision. In a last-ditch effort, the Bio Lizard merges with the space colony to bring it plummeting towards Earth. Finally, Sonic and Shadow have one last choice and decide to band together using the power of the Chaos Emeralds to go Super Sonic and Super Shadow. And they pretend jack off, I don't know why. And this brings us to the final hazard, prototype of the ultimate life form. This epic battle isn't one of the hardest in the franchise, and you could say the stakes go even higher in some other games, but with Live and Learn playing, matching the themes of letting humanity live, and Shadow's epiphany, it truly is a song that matches themes of the game and also sends home a final message of triumph and living for the adventure to battle. And for those of you who have never played the game, that's the finale. The hero of humanity, Shadow the Hedgehog, gives his life for the greater good.
No way that's getting through!
Shadow, I beg of you,
Maria!
give them a chance to be happy.
Now, Shadow! Chaos Control!
Maria, this is what you wanted, right? This is my promise I made to you.
At the end of Sonic Adventure 2, Shadow dies.
Where is Shadow? Do you really think that the professor created him, Shadow, to carry out the revenge on all those who live here on Earth?
He was what he was. A brave and heroic hedgehog who gave his life to save this planet. Shadow the Hedgehog.
I guess you're right.
As a child, I looked up to my grandfather because of all the great things he accomplished in his life. He was my hero, and I wanted to be a great scientist like him. But did he really mean to destroy us?
I don't know, but what I do know is we all did it together.
You're right.
So what's next for you, Rouge? Off again to find those jewels you love so much?
Nah, I think I'm gonna give up this line of work. Too much work for too little pay. Anyway, I've got something better than jewels that I'm thinking about right now. It'll all work out, you'll see.
If you say so.
Created the ultimate life form.
What's the matter, Sonic?
Oh, it's nothing. Come on, let's go home. To the planet as cool and blue as me. Sayonara, Shadow the Hedgehog.
This truly was the perfect send-off to a wonderfully written character, especially for a fucking platformer.
Shadow.
And with that, that is the end of Sonic Adventure 2 Battle. An epic conclusion, a heartfelt story with confidence, which I've talked about a lot in my other videos pertaining to the worst parts of the Sonic franchise as it is now. A lot of times you see them pulling their punches on story, not really pushing boundaries, and not committing to any specific tone. What Sonic Adventure 2 was able to do in characters really embodying their beliefs, it was something that was really defining. And there's a reason why this game will be forever iconic. The one-liners, the sometimes comedic voice acting, the ridiculous scenarios. Yes, there are things that you can, laugh at, but there's a reason why people are clamoring for a Sonic Adventure 3. It's because we're yearning for something that feels engaging and feels like it's not talking down to its player base. We're wanting something that makes us feel like there's a reason why I care about this stupid blue hedgehog and his stupid furry friends. Whether it's playing through the story or listening to the sound test, playing multiplayer with friends, or spending endless hours upwards of 250 in the Chao Garden. This game, in the short time that it was made, is very impressive and surprisingly massive and rich with content that has kept people playing for 20 plus years. And I'm probably going to keep playing for 20 plus more. As I wear the Shadow chain with pride, I will say it's a damn shame that he didn't stay dead. But here we are, 20 years later, still one of the most iconic characters in the series. I understand why they brought him back in Sonic Heroes and tried to revamp his story with Shadow the Hedgehog and completely change what he was up to in Sonic 06. I just think it's a damn shame that now he is just the emo bastard archetype. They've kind of dropped a lot of the things that made him iconic from Sonic Adventure 2. And we'll get more into Shadow though in a couple days here, so stay tuned. And with that, that is why Sonic Adventure 2 Battle will be forever iconic. Thanks for watching.